Everyone's got excuses. Everyone's got struggles. But here's the truth. Nobody cares. Work harder. This isn't just a quote. It's a mindset that separates winners from the rest. Let's break down why embracing this truth can completely transform your life. We often expect someone to notice our effort, our pain, or our circumstances. But the truth is, most people are busy fighting their own battles. The harsh yet freeing reality is, nobody owes us attention, support, or understanding. This is where radical responsibility comes into play. It means accepting, without resentment, that everything in your life is your responsibility, even when it's not your fault. It's not about blaming yourself for every problem, but rather reclaiming control by focusing on what you can do about it. When we internalize this mindset, we stop outsourcing our motivation. We stop waiting for the perfect circumstances, the right partner, the ideal mentor, or public praise. Success stops being conditional. Because once you embrace the fact that nobody cares, not your boss, not the algorithm, not the market, then you are free to operate without emotional crutches. That's when real work begins. You show up every day not because someone's watching, but because you decided to watch yourself. This kind of ownership is rare in a world full of excuses. People want to be seen struggling, hoping someone will come along and offer shortcuts or sympathy. But sympathy doesn't create success. Systems do. Structure, routines, discipline. These are the real tools of change. When you drop the expectation that the world owes you a break, you start engineering your own results. You plan your days better. You stop posting quotes and start living them. You look in the mirror and say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. There's also a hidden benefit in this perspective. Freedom from entitlement. Once you let go of the belief that someone should help you or reward you, you become immune to disappointment. You stop being reactive and start becoming proactive. This mindset builds resilience. You start to expect setbacks, and instead of asking, why me, you ask, what now? That's a powerful shift. From victimhood to leadership. You don't wait for motivation anymore. You build systems that function even on low days. You surround yourself with people who challenge you, not comfort you. And more importantly, you measure your progress by effort, not applause. Because applause is fickle. It comes late or never. But effort is always in your control. The day you accept that nobody cares, you free yourself from needing approval. That space creates clarity, and in that clarity, you start doing the real work with zero expectation and 100% focus. Feelings come and go, discipline doesn't. That's the edge that separates consistent performers from those who stop and start endlessly. When you rely on how you feel, you hand over control to variables you can't predict. One day you're energized, the next you're tired. One moment you're inspired, the next you're bored. And in that emotional roller coaster, progress dies. That's why the mindset of nobody cares, work harder, is rooted in discipline. Because work still needs to be done, even when motivation is missing. And that's the difference. Motivation is optional. Discipline is non-negotiable. People often confuse passion with consistency. Passion is loud and exciting, but short-lived. Discipline is quiet, unglamorous, and boring, but it's what moves the needle. Every major achievement, from writing a book to building a six-pack, comes from showing up after the excitement fades. It's easy to go hard for a week. It's difficult to show up for 52 weeks straight when nobody is cheering. But that's where the compound effect kicks in. Small efforts, repeated daily, create results that passion alone could never deliver. The problem is, we're conditioned to think our emotions should decide our actions. I don't feel like working today becomes a valid reason to skip the grind. But the truth is, your goals don't care how you feel. Deadlines don't care. Markets don't care. Your competitors certainly don't care. And life continues whether you're in a good mood or not. That's why emotional discipline, the ability to act in spite of your mood, is a superpower. It's a sign that you stop being a slave to your impulses. Discipline, unlike motivation, is built. You don't wake up with it. You earn it through repetition. You wake up, do the work, track the results, and repeat, no matter the weather in your head. Over time, it becomes your identity. Not, I want to be consistent, but I am consistent. Not, I try to show up, but I always show up. That shift doesn't happen through inspiration. It happens through routine, through grit, through forcing your body to move even when your mind screams otherwise. There's also peace in discipline. You don't overthink or overplan. You follow a process. When your emotions scream, take a break. Discipline whispers, one more rep. That whisper becomes your anchor. You learn to trust your habits more than your moods. And that's where true growth happens. In the mundane, the repetitive, the boring, that's the battleground. Because if you can execute without enthusiasm, you've reached a level most never will. Most people chase high-energy peaks. Disciplined people master the valleys. That's why they win. Not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they keep working long after the average person has stopped. The world may reward results, but only discipline guarantees them. Rejection is often misinterpreted as a verdict, when in reality, it's a spark. Most people shrink when they're ignored, overlooked, or doubted, but high performers use that exact neglect as fuel. The mindset of nobody cares, work harder, turns every instance of being underestimated into a silent contract with yourself. I will prove it through action. This isn't about revenge. It's about resilience. You take the coldness of being ignored and convert it into focused energy. The world may not clap now, but the work you put in when no one is looking eventually becomes undeniable. History is full of examples. David Goggins, once called too fat to make it, didn't ask for sympathy. He got up and ran through the pain. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, and instead of sulking, he trained until the gym lights shut off. These individuals didn't seek comfort in pity. They sought power in self-discipline. The same rejection that breaks most people built them. They understood that being ignored isn't personal. It's part of process. The biggest mistake is seeking validation too early. When you're starting, no one owes you support. You're unproven. Your work hasn't earned attention yet. That's not unfair, that's reality. And once you accept that, you stop trying to be seen and start trying to be great. Every hour you spend improving, building, and grinding in silence is an investment. Most people quit during this phase because their ego can't handle invisibility. But greatness grows underground, in the shadows, before it ever reaches the spotlight. That silence is where character is built. There are no likes, no comments, no encouragement, just you and your routine. You post content that no one sees. You launch projects that no one buys. You hit the gym and see no change. But instead of quitting, you double down. You understand that neglect is temporary, but your effort isn't. Eventually, the results start to compound. What was once invisible becomes undeniable. Doubt from others can be useful. 2. It sharpens your edge. It exposes your hunger. When someone says, you won't make it, they're giving you the greatest gift, a reason to focus harder. You don't need to talk back or prove them wrong with words. You let your work become so consistent, so relentless, that eventually the world has to take notice. Not because you asked, but because you earned it. What's powerful about this mindset is it puts you back in control. You no longer chase approval. You chase progress. And the best part? You become unshakable. Whether someone supports you or ignores you, your effort doesn't change. That consistency is lethal. Because the world may not care right now, but it has no choice once you've done the work. Pain, loss, rejection, and hardship are universal experiences. Everyone is dealing with something, whether they talk about it or not. What makes people different isn't the presence of struggle. It's the response to it. Nobody cares. Work harder strips away the illusion of uniqueness in suffering. It replaces self-pity with self-responsibility. You realize that your hardship isn't a reason to slow down. It's a reason to sharpen up. While others fold under pressure, you choose to rise. That choice, not your background or circumstance, is what defines your future. The trap most people fall into is thinking they're alone in their pain, that their obstacles are somehow exceptional. This belief creates entitlement. Because I've suffered, I deserve a break. But life doesn't work that way. The world won't slow down because you're tired. No opportunity will pause because you're hurting. Everyone is fighting silent battles, some bigger than yours. And many still show up still do the work, still move forward. If they can, you can too. That's not dismissal of pain. That's a call to power. This mindset also reshapes your identity. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? You ask, how do I respond to this like a leader? The difference between average and elite is often this very shift in framing. One collapses in adversity. The other adapts, evolves, and fights back. Every challenge becomes training, mental, emotional, spiritual. You stop expecting life to be easy, and you start preparing yourself to become stronger. No one is exempt from suffering. Athletes tear ligaments. Entrepreneurs lose everything. Creators get ignored for years. But they don't let those setbacks define them. They let those setbacks refine them. There's a subtle but crucial difference between being a victim of circumstances and being a student of them. Victims wait. Students learn. And learners grow. Another hard truth is that the world rarely rewards effort alone. It rewards results. And results come from consistent action, not emotional reasoning. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's valuable to others. You don't get paid in pain. You get paid in value. So the only question worth asking is, what am I doing with what I've been given? Pain can be a tool. Struggle can be fuel. But only if you choose to use it. This is why those who thrive are often quiet about their problems. They don't use their struggles as shields. They let their work speak for them. They know that energy spent complaining is energy stolen from growth. So they shift that energy inward into routine systems and standards. They build habits that survive their worst days, because those are the days that define them. Everyone has a story, but few have a strategy. The story explains the pain. The strategy overcomes it. The real ones don't just survive, they build while bleeding. And eventually, the same world that once ignored their struggle stands up to applaud their strength. Comfort is deceptive. It feels like safety, but it slowly kills progress. The mindset behind nobody cares, work harder, is a direct rebellion against comfort. It's a warning that ease is the enemy of excellence. The human brain is wired to conserve energy, avoid pain, and seek pleasure. But every major breakthrough lives on the opposite side of that wiring. The gym hurts. Writing feels tedious. Building a business is mentally exhausting. Yet those hard things are the ones that create transformation, not the comfortable ones. People chase a lifestyle of balance and comfort before they've earned it. They want weekends off, 8 hours of sleep, and a stress-free routine, while trying to outwork the people who are sacrificing everything for their goals. That equation doesn't add up. Growth requires discomfort. It demands sweat, risk, rejection, and repetition. If your life feels too easy, you're probably not stretching yourself. If you're not feeling resistance, you're not in the growth zone. You're in the maintenance zone. When you choose comfort, you avoid pain temporarily but invite regret long-term. The skipped workout, the unfinished project, the ignored alarm, they don't hurt today, but they compound into failure later. Meanwhile, every decision to endure a little more pain sharpens you. Every early morning, every cold shower, every uncomfortable conversation is a small vote for who you want to become. Over time, those votes turn into identity. You become someone who can endure, someone who doesn't break easily. The danger of comfort is that it lies. It tells you you're doing okay because things aren't falling apart. But okay is the death zone for ambition. If you're not in pain, you're not pushing. That's why top performers manufacture discomfort even when life is good. They run further, read harder books, wake up earlier, or build harder goals. Not because they enjoy pain, but because they fear stagnation more than struggle. Your comfort zone is your ceiling. Every level of success requires a new level of discomfort. You can't grow your business without risking rejection. You can't level up your body without enduring soreness. You can't improve your mind without pushing through boredom. Every area of your life that's not growing is an area where you've made peace with being comfortable. The mindset of working harder despite no applause or attention demands you to seek out hard things intentionally, because hard things build mental toughness, and mental toughness is the currency of success. It buys you focus in chaos, endurance in setbacks, and consistency in silence. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it leaves you weak when life tests you, and life will test you. So instead of asking, how can I make this easier? The better question is, how can I get stronger? That question will lead you straight into the discomfort you've been avoiding and straight into the growth you've been chasing.